Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Naked Sales, where we keep our clothes on, but strip down and present the bare essentials of selling. I'm your host, Chris Miller, and today I am super excited to have as a guest my good friend, Alice Tang. So before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about Alice because she's got a fascinating story and really the reason why I wanted to share her with you today. So Alice originated from humble beginnings in Hong Kong. And as she watched her father build his business, she quickly realized that relationships were the key to success. As the first person to earn a college degree in her family, she graduated from the University of London, where she met her husband. She immigrated to the US without a network, without family or community here, and started a career in financial advising. After years of following the tried and true advice for networking and building a business, and we know what that is, right? Activity, activity, activity. Alice realized that that process was not scalable. There's only so many hours in a day. So she set out to create a system that is scalable and has also exponentially grown her network, her business, and success ever since. She's a vice president and partner at a full-service financial consulting firm in Oregon, a top female producer in the financial industry, a sought-after speaker, and she has built her business by focusing on creating and deepening relationships, one connection at a time. She's also an advocate for female professionals and helping the next generation succeed. She has unveiled her process to the world, helping people to catapult their success. She is here with us today, and now you know why I am so excited to welcome Alice Tang. So welcome, Alice.
Thank you for having me. I'm as excited as you are.
Great. So this time goes really fast, and I have so much I want to talk to you about. So if you're ready, I'm ready to jump right in. Are you ready, Alice? All right, good. So let's start out. You believe that sales is something that everybody does. And for a lot of people, sales makes them cringe. They do not want to be associated with the word sales or think of themselves as selling. So what do you mean by that? That like everybody really is in sales, everybody sells?
That's very true. Everybody sells, whether you sell in exchange for money or not. So let's think about this crazy little things here. In the weekend, you wanted to go to see a movie with your family. And of course, everybody have different ideas about, what movie they want to see. Well, assuming that your state can let you go there, so preface up, in the pandemic. Anyway, so you want to see a romantic movie. Your husband want to see a action movie. And your kids, of course, want to see a Disney movie. So how do you convince them all together, or how do they convince you to go with their idea? We're doing a little selling there. Mm-hmm. So selling is something what we call influence people. Mm-hmm. The capacity to have the effect on the character, development, or the behavior of someone, motivating them to take action.
So why does this sound like a bad thing when we talk about sales and influence?
Well, I think a lot of times, I'm an immigrant, so please correct me, but people relate sales or salesmen to used car salesmen. They will try their best to get you buy what they have, and perhaps it's what you not needed. Mm-hmm. So that's what I learned in this country. You can correct me. So if that's the case, people have a negative concept about the word sales or salesman.
No, you're absolutely correct. And I would like to think that modern day car salespeople are not that way. It's just this label that has been, well, it was created because of the behaviors. It was legitimate, I believe, at one point. And unfortunately, it's legitimate for some people now today as well. But I think for most of us that are professionals, it is not that stereotype. However, we have to live with it and try to get our job done while people still have it in their mind. And real quick here for those following live, please feel free to put a question in the comments, say hi, add a comment to the conversation, any of your thoughts. We can see what you share in there live. We won't be typing back, but we can have that conversation with you live. And if you're watching it on the replay, feel free to add your comments because Alice and I still will be seeing those after this broadcast ends, and we'll be able to respond as well. So influence, so important, right? That's how we convince our family to choose the movie we want to. That's how we get maybe our boss to give us a bigger budget for a project we want to do at work. And maybe it's what we use if we're in the sales world to help close a deal. So how can you have influence and not be salesy, not come across as that negative stereotype? Because I've got to tell you, Alice, it is, I would say the number one thing I hear from people is they talk about sales, how they want to improve, or if they're a business owner and they know they need to sell, but they don't want to, they cringe. And I was like, but I don't want to sound salesy. Like, I don't want to sound salesy. So how do we do it?
Okay, so we have two parts of the question. One is how do we do it? And the other part is, let's not forget, if I do, because I'm older than you, remind me, let's talk about the word salesy.
Yes.
So let's talk about how do we do it first. When we want to apply influence on somebody's behavior and motivating them, inspiring them to take action, there is the first premise. The first premise is there must be an issue, a problem, or challenge that this person in front of you have, whether they know it or not. Mm-hmm. So if there's no problem, there's nothing need to be fixed, there's no influence applied, I don't want to go to the space. Yes, I'm scared to death to go there and might not be back. Well, Elon Musk is not on this show, I hope. But so
Elon,
you don't need to convince me because I don't have the desire, I don't have a problem there.
Right. I mean, and that's so key, Alice, because we shouldn't be selling to people that don't have a problem or a situation we can help solve. No one should be trying to sell you a trip to space. You have no interest to go to space. You don't have a problem getting to space. That's a waste of everybody's time. A good discovery will, help you figure that out, or some pre-conversations. And I'm sure we'll get to talking about relationships and getting to know people. But right, that's the heart of it. I so agree with you that if there's no problem, there should not be that conversation, right?
So let's remember that. So I'm going to bring this back to perhaps our financial business here. So people walk through the door to ask for consultation about, for example, common topic, retirement, okay? Common topic. So they walk through the door, whether they're referred by somebody, they found us, okay, whatsoever. They are going to spend time, at least an hour, plus driving time to the office. Nobody is going to spend time on an issue or challenge or problem that they don't believe they have.
Right.
Okay, so start from the issue. So let's make that assumption. Somebody have that issue, that problem, that challenge, and they need some help. They're talking with you. Next step, quantify the impact of that. So now you have the issue. What's the impact? Does it make you feel burdened? Does it feel you upset, or you consume a lot of time? Time could be well spent somewhere else. What's that? Quantify that, help them to do that so that they can say it in their words, feel it in their body about how the problem has impacted them. That will make them, the brain, their mind think through, okay, I need to take care of it.
Right. I
Then
agree.
is the
Yeah.
time to present the thought process, the idea, the solution, your service, your product, how your product, service, and idea can help them help with the problem, solve the problem, or lessen the pain.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, Alice. Yes. I love all of it, right? We need to determine that there's a challenge, there's a problem, there's an issue we can help with. We quantify it. I like to call that using ROI too, right? So, an ROI we think of a lot in numbers, but it doesn't have to be numbers because you're talking about time. Maybe our solution will save somebody time or energy. There's ROI on that. Maybe it is money. Whatever it is, demonstrate and quantify what that issue is and how you can help solve it. I'll tell you, Alice, that's a key takeaway for me because I found it's really hard to say no. If you identify a problem, your prospect, client, whatever they are in the sales process agrees with you, and then you can quantify a solution to them. It's hard to say no to that. And then if you go through and you put it all together in your solution, now you've got this nice little package. And we're not coming off as salesy, right? We are not that at all. We are helping someone. And I
Sales
think
is
those are
also problem solving. Problem
it.
solving. Assume we have a problem. It's a real problem. We are helping them to solve that problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I been in business for the last 20 years. I've learned that, well, you help people to get there. It's hard for them to ignore. Now they need to make a decision. If you can show them the idea, show them the solution that can resolve that, then they need to know where they're heading. Maybe they say, well, the solution is expensive. The solution is time consuming. I just don't have all these. Our job
Mm-hmm.
is to help them to lift the hurdles one by one, so that they can get to the end result. At the end, we really hope that we take the horse to the water
Mm-hmm.
already. We really hope that they drink, right? They
Right.
drink because it's good for them. If you have pain all the way through, you want to resolve that pain. Okay? But sometimes people are hesitant to drink the water. And I ask everybody to consider do not take it personally.
Yes.
The question we ask every day, being an influencer or a problem solver, is have I given it all? Have I given it all to this person, this prospect? If I have, I should be able to sleep. Because end of the day, we
Absolutely.
don't control them. We just don't.
That's true. We're humans, right? And we can put out the most logical sequence of where we've identified a problem, we quantify it, we show them a solution. We might have done everything right and we still get a no. And you're right. If we've done it the right way, we can put our head on our pillows at night feeling good about the work we've done. But people are people and we can't always get the outcome that we want, and not because even the revenue piece, but maybe we really want to help this person. We know we really can stop the pain, but for whatever reason it wasn't right, it didn't happen, and that's part of what we do. And I love how you talked about us uh, uh, handling those hurdles, helping them do the work, which is what we do in so often in sales. It's not just about the process, getting the appointment and closing. Those are all fundamental pieces of the sale, of course, but we really are there to hold their hand and walk them through the process and make them feel okay and confident and secure and answer questions or help them with a process if we need to help them with that. So I'm so glad you brought that up because I think that's really key, important piece of how we gain influence too, let alone help serve our clients.
Yes, yes. So the other question, the other piece of your original question is the word salesy.
Yes.
So
Salesy.
salesy. Can you give me a description of or definition of salesy so that I
Right.
don't climb on the wrong tree and answer the wrong question?
Right. Well, salesy is what we talked about at the very beginning. It's that obnoxious, pushy. Love to hear what people have in the comments too, how they perceive salesy or experience. Um, all right, let's talk about LinkedIn. We're on LinkedIn, that automation piece where people are just like, boom, banging you with messages that don't know anything about you, trying to push a product or service on you. Someone that's calling you, hanging up, calling back, calling you, um, just just not listening, not asking questions, not caring about you or your company or your business. It's really a very self-centered way of selling. I think there's probably even more, but I think that's a good place to start as far as salesy.
Very good. Thank you for sharing. And in my immigrant mind, salesy means I am being pushed an idea, a product or service without fully understanding of my circumstances. And I feel like burdened. And also, I don't know how to say no to this.
Yes.
If I have 4 legs right away, I'll run. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, I still have 2.
4 legs right away and run. I wish there's some customers on. They're probably like, yes.
That's a new sales idea.
Right. Let's put that on a T-shirt. Salesy.
Yes.
I have
So,
4 legs
okay.
and one
So,
run.
salesy, very good. I never feel that, although I'm very loud, I'm less than 5 feet tall, but I'm super loud. I never felt that at the moment that I'm salesy. Mm-hmm. So I think it has to do with if you are doing the right thing. We talk about just now, we have a structure of the problem, quantify the problem, finding the solution, lifting the hurdle, help them to get to the water and help them drink, right?
Yeah.
So if that's what you're doing, it's not salesy to ask at the end, do you have any questions? Also, we move forward. Okay? The salesy part is internal here. We need to fix that. People buy. You never sell. Assume every prospect and every customer or every client in front of you, they are intelligent people. They know what's right for them. As long as you give it all, describe your solution, tell them the pros and cons. What are the situation and the circumstances this might not work?
Yeah, there's a mind blower, pros and cons, and situations where this might not work.
Yes.
How unique would someone be to a buyer that's been talking to different reps, salespeople, when someone goes through the pros and cons and says, this is why I think it'll work, and this is where we may, maybe where it won't work. How honest and real is that? Talk about building trust and influence by having a real honest conversation. That doesn't happen as much as it should. I'm so glad you brought that up, Alice.
Yes. And then this is going to be crazily surprising to all of you, especially for those people who think helping people to make a decision would be salesy.
Yes.
If you lack of conviction, you think you're salesy, assuming you have done all the process. So let's talk about conviction. Conviction is, I'm a consultant all the way through problem solving, and I know this is good for you. All right? And I'm going to ask you to consider the solution, the idea, and the product. And the reason why I'm not, even I think it's good, I'm not comfortable asking is because my worry about how you react. What if you hate me? What if you think I'm salesy? What if you think there is something in there that I'm getting rather than the benefit, the personal benefit of me? So all these worries. So I'll tell you, if a mother is telling a child not to take drugs.
Mm-hmm.
She is convicted. She said, no, you shouldn't touch any drugs at all, right? Do you think she's Salesy? No.
No.
No. I've never thought that if my mom says certain things, ask me to stop, dating a guy that is not right for me or not doing crazy things that may harm me eventually, it's
Mm-hmm.
Salesy. I may say, oh, she bugged me. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
hurt. My feelings is hurt. But I still love my mom.
Right. Right. It's
So
not
think
personal.
about your conviction. If you worry about the reaction of your prospect, your customer, and your client has a negative impact on you, so you feel little, you feel uncomfortable, your lack of conviction about the idea, the product, and the service that you're saying and telling and asking them to make a decision.
Yes. And I would add to that, if you feel icky or weird on feels bad saying or doing what you're doing something wrong. And
Absolutely.
right. So there's that conviction piece. But if it doesn't feel right, then you're doing something wrong. Maybe in your heart that maybe you can push someone to do something, but it's not the right choice. You'd just be grabbing their money. Maybe you've got a sales leader or boss that's pushing you to do something or teaching or training you to sell in a certain way that you don't feel is ethical. There's something off. And if you have that experience too, then stop. Like that's what I tell people. If you feel like you're salesy, if you feel gross if doing it, then there is something wrong. Because if you're doing what you described, being convicted and confident in your conversation, then you shouldn't have those feelings. You may have the feelings you described where what if they don't react the way I want? What if I feel like they don't like me afterwards? But you shouldn't feel sleazy. If you feel sleazy, there's something wrong in the process, and go back and figure it out, because that's not what sales feels like. It should feel good, honestly. Like it should feel good because you're helping someone. And it should be
Yes.
fun.
Yes, I agree with you. So at the end of a conversation, either a closing email or a closing sales conversation, I always say, which a lot of people said, I learned it from someone, yes and no are both good answers. Or no is as great an answer as a yes, because I have given you all.
Yes. Right? Yeah, I love how you phrase that, because we'll talk about we want to get to yes or no. And unfortunately, people get stuck in the process holding on hope they're going to get a yes, when really it's probably going to be a no. And maybe the buyer's too nice to say no. And so they dance around it, or they go dark. And as salespeople or sales leaders, we're chasing them. But how beautiful is that they're both okay answers. I've given you my all. I've shared everything that I think can really help you. So it's okay. Whatever the answer may be, it's okay. And then they feel okay giving you the no if that's what it is. And then you can move on instead of being in what I call sales purgatory, which really stinks. Nobody wants to be in sales purgatory.
I think helping them to get to an answer actually is really relieving for all of us, because how many times if you are in a position of driving sales, let's say, and you have a bunch of people dinging around, they haven't say no, so you got to follow up. How
Right.
nice if they say, no, this is not for me, no, it's not now, no, because help them to get there. Be courageous, because then you can release your mental capacity, which we have very limited, although we have more brain cells than we use by the end of our life. If you mentally are strong and having the capacity, you can go after the people and the prospect and the clients and the customers who appreciate your problem solving. Let them go. Let them go.
Let them go.
If you tried it all already.
Absolutely. I can't agree more with you on that. Let them go. So people here, we've got thank you all for your comments too, by the way. Um, love your feedback. So keep them coming. Uh, what if you are a sales leader or you're a boss, you're running a business, you might not have a traditional sales team, but people in your business all sell. How do you teach or model this type of behavior to be influential and not salesy? How do you think we could do that as sales leaders? How can we do a better job as sales leaders with the people that are working for us or on our team?
There are a lot of ways, obviously. So my way is role modeling because you can tell all day long, but you must take them under your wing in a meeting. So having two salesmen or two advisor and consultant in the room with real life client. Role play is important before, right? But also real life experience so they know how you handle it. It's not only your words. You must be convicted. Everybody can say this. But how convicted is Alice in real life?
Mm-hmm. I practice. I mean, yes, you saw me do this because we need to practice on each other, not on our customers. For one, it makes us better. And Alice, you and I, before we went on the show, we're talking about how we both prepared before we came on live, right? Because we're talking to all of you. And so practice as a leader. I love that. Do some role playing with your team to model it when they're out with you, show them. It's okay if we stumble when we're out in the sales world in real life. That happens. It's not a big deal, especially if you're trying something new. Keep trying it. But it is so valuable, I believe, as a sales leader to truly make that a priority, not just talk the talk, but really walk the walk. And are you supporting your team when they are doing these types of things? Are you supporting them when they're trying to get a no as much as a yes, just so they can move on and work on the next person that they may be able to help? So I love that. So we're getting close to the end here. Like I said, boy, this time flies by. So I guess one last thing. Why do people buy? So we're talking about salesy and influence. This is all weaved together in this curious web. Why do people buy? Why do some say yes and some say no? We do the exact same process.
Well, first of all, they recognize they have a problem. If they're not convinced they have a problem, why would they go down the path with anybody or you?
Mm-hmm.
Right? First, people buy because they are aware of there is a problem, a challenge. The second thing is you have done a good job in quantifying the impact in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's a little pain, I mean, I'm one of those people who are guilty. A little pain is not going to move me because I'm too busy with something new.
Right.
I don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
So quantify that. If it's really significant, then naturally, we talk about it at the beginning of the show, their brain, human brain, would just naturally go, oh, is this painful? Oh, it's going to cost me 30,000 or 50,000 a year or 500,000 for my business. I need to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
I need to fix it because I have better use of the 30, 50 of 300,000, right?
Right. Right. Time to
So
do the
people
work.
also buy emotionally. And we all in sales heard about this. It's really the reasoning that, all these features that, can help with my issue, my problem is going to help with are the rational, are the logical to support my emotional decision.
Mm-hmm.
So people buy, we don't sell. People buy. Just think about that.
I love it. And Alice, Thank you. And I want to let everybody know that is watching that Alice has a handout that she's created that she's willing to share with everybody here. It's her process on how to nurture your network and strengthen your connections. So as soon as we're done here, I'm going to put that link in the comments so you can just click on that and grab it, get more of Alice Tang. I've got to have Alice back because we got to talk more about relationships and networking next time. But in that vein, I do have to thank how I met Alice was through my brother-in-law. He's on here right now watching too. He's also a big fan of Alice Tang. So thank you, Matt, for connecting
Matt.
with this fantastic woman. Yeah, and that's what it's about. People, human relationships. If you have all this good stuff that we talked about today, don't worry about being salesy. You're doing a job. You're doing a great job. You're doing a hard job. And the people that you're serving truly will appreciate you and the service that you provide, product that you provide. And I so appreciate Alice. She's just amazing. She's a wealth of information. She inspires me every time I talk to her. I always have notes and I think of ways to do things differently and better. So Alice, before we go, how can people contact you if they want more Alice Tang?
They can go to my website, askalicetang.com.
Awesome. And Alice also does speaking engagements. So if you'd like to bring her in to a meeting or an event, contact her there and find out more. And I guarantee you, I've seen Alice do a bunch of things. She truly is amazing. So thank you, Alice. Thank you, everybody, for taking time out of your busy day to come and hang out with us, talk about influence sales and being salesy. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.
Thank you for having me, and thank you, everyone.